What's up, everybody?
What's up, everybody?
Did I say everybody? I kind of
No,
mixed that
you
up. What's
didn't.
up,
What's up,
everybody?
everybody?
Yeah, slurring my words for and with no reason to do so. All right, listen. When you see our face on Thursday, you already know what time it is. So we're giving you an opportunity to hit the share button and do all you need to do to get prepared for this episode. We've
Yep,
been talking about this episode for a long time. We are
it's
excited.
finally
We got
here.
a great guest. Great topic.
Yes.
So you just need to, matter of fact, I even need to share this myself. So I'm going to do that
Yeah, me too.
while the intro plays. I'm going to go ahead and do what I'm asking you to do. So without further ado, go ahead and strap in, buckle up, get your pen and pad out or whatever you use to take notes. And let's get ready for another episode of Inside the
Inside the
Relationship.
relationship.
Let's go.
Let's go.
You're watching Inside the Relationship with Denise and Ollie.
So sit back, relax, and let's talk about all things relationships. What's happening, everybody?
Hello,
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
everyone.
Listen, it's Thursday. It's time for Inside the Relationship. This is a show about all things relationships. And this is if this is your first time seeing us or being connected to this show in any way, shape, or form, first of all, welcome.
Welcome.
My name is Oliver.
And I'm Denise.
And we are passionate about seeing relationships thrive, authors, speakers, and coaches in that space. And this show is just an opportunity to just share, have some great conversation, and share in hopes that you will walk away with something that will be beneficial to your relationship.
Yeah.
Speaking of conversation, let's get this out of the way. Listen,
Mhm.
those of you who follow us know we do a show on Saturday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time called Have a Conversation After Dark. Have a Conversation After Dark is a place where we can talk about anything and everything. Nothing is off the table.
No holds barred.
Nothing. Okay. Now, we've always wanted to do this show in front of a live audience. And guess what?
Now we are.
We are doing this
Live audience, as in live and in person.
live and in
'Cause
person.
this is
right.
live.
So we're doing this. And I never did change the flyer, did I? So this is an old flyer. But we're doing this March the 23rd,
Yay.
2025. We are doing Have a Conversation Live After Dark in front of a live audience. Man, we're going to have a great time. I don't have the new flyer, but I can tell you who's going to hang out with us.
Yes.
We got my guy Kels coming through, DJ Special K. He did my 50th birthday party a few years back and smashed it. We're looking forward to him.
Yeah.
Set the vibe and take us where we need to go musically. We got Armina. Man, you guys who follow us know the love we have for this
she's great.
young lady, and so she's gonna be with us. She's gonna be on stage with us for this conversation. We got B. Leah, dope artist coming through.
That's my girl.
It's gonna rock the spot with some spoken word.
So
we're gonna have a good time, man. We're gonna have a good time. It's gonna double as a birthday celebration for my wife. Her birthday is 3 days prior, so it's gonna double as a celebration. So we need you to be there. I will put the link for you to get your tickets at some point during the show. I'll put the link in the chat so that you can grab it. Or if you're following us, you know we've been posting about it every day, and so there'll be a link for you to get your tickets.
It's all over all of our social media pages.
So now, for those of you who aren't in the DMV, don't worry. One, you probably know somebody in the DMV, so share that with them. Two, there's a great chance we're going to come to a city near you.
This is the first leg of we are taking Have a Conversation After Dark on tour, and this is the first leg of the tour.
This is it. So there are some other cities that are in the works. We're going to be contacting some folks. Matter of fact, our guest today, we're probably going to liaison with her because it would be nice to have her on stage with us.
That would be good.
When we do Philly.
That would be good.
So, yeah. So we'll talk about that a little later. All right. Couple more things before we bring on our guest. Our guest is going to, sometimes our guests opt to just come in for the marriage minute moment. And sometimes our guests choose to stay for the whole show. She's going to be here for the whole show, which I'm excited
Yay.
about. So, all right, a couple more things. First off, most of you know we're authors. We'd love for you to grab this book, Overcoming the Man Laws for the Man Who Wants to Be His Best, despite what he was taught. It is my journey of self-discovery in 8 areas that I grappled with as a husband and father. It is a good read, if I do say so myself.
It is a good read.
It has been used in a couple different book studies and things of that nature. And so would love to have you get your hands on it and share what you think about that. All right. That's the first thing. Second thing is couples. We got something for you. We have a couples journal that we're very proud of and that individuals have come to us and said has been a catalyst for sparking conversation in their lives and increasing the level of conversation that they have. Those of you who know us know that we say all the time. What do we say all the time?
Conversation is a catalyst for
growth.
Conversation is a catalyst for
learning.
Conversation is a catalyst for
bonding.
Yeah, you switched that.
I
Usually,
did. Yeah,
yeah, you trying to keep me on my toes. It's okay.
Toes.
I'm with you.
So,
I'm with you. You didn't think I was going to do it. I did it.
So we really, excuse me, we really hope you want to bond with your spouse.
Yes.
And you want to grow
Yeah.
with your spouse and you want to learn more about your spouse. And this
Yeah.
is a way to do that. Last thing for our single moms, man, every
It's okay.
week I forget to do
So
this.
we have the
It's out now. It's not on pre-order.
It's not on pre-order. It is out. You can get it through our website, or you can get it on Amazon too if you want to. It's the Dear Single Mommy Journal and Planner. As some of you know and some of you don't, I was a single mommy for 11 years before we got married. And so it is just one of those things that was near and dear to my heart, still single mommies. And so it's a journal and planner for you to plan out your day as a single mother and try to bring a little bit of order to your day. Something that I wish that I would have thought of doing when I was a single mom, instead of just haphazardly jumping from one thing to the next and being frustrated. And as a result, taking out my frustration on my kids sometimes. And so that was the reason for, that was the reason, I'm losing my earbud, reason for me doing the planner.
So you can get all of those on Amazon. You can also get all of those on our website as well. Okay, now we kind of went through that very quickly. And the reason why we went through that very quickly is because we're really excited to get our guest today. I'm not going to say a whole lot about her. There's something about her in the description, but I'm just going to say we met this person at a forum that was taking place in Philadelphia
that we were both a part of.
Right. We
all were a part of.
We're privileged to be on the panel with this person and some other really dope therapists. Sparked my interest when she said that she was a sex therapist. And I was like, at some point in our existence, we're going to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I want to bring to you all, those of you who may know her, there may be people who are watching who know her, but to introduce to others, Taniek Gentles, right? Taniek Gentles, and I'm going to have her introduce herself and say what she does when she comes on. Right? What's happening?
Hello, hello, hello. I'm so excited to be here.
We are excited to have you.
Finally.
I know. It's been a long time coming.
It's been a long time coming, but good things
we are excited. Yeah, we're excited to have you. Now, listen, on purpose, I didn't want to just read what was in the description, right? I wanted you to just share in your own words who you are and how you serve the world.
Okay. So I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. I own a practice here in Philadelphia. Well, we're located in Glenside. We service marginalized populations, more specifically the Black community. We are all clinicians of color, so all Black therapists. And when I'm not doing therapy, I am adjunct faculty at Drexel University. So at my practice, I work primarily with couples. And that led me down the journey to becoming a sex therapist. So I am a sex therapist. And that's a little bit about me. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, a second generation Jamaican.
Okay, that's what's up.
Big up yourself.
That's what's up, man. Good stuff. So listen, we're gonna hear from you throughout the entire thing, but Taniek is here to hang out with us for the marriage minute. Shout out to Terry Parks, Dr. Terry Parks in the comments.
Dr. Parks,
yes,
my
D.
dude.
TP, we are live right now. And I'm glad to see your comment, Dr. Parks, because that means that there are some Thursdays that you are actually available at 7 p.m. So just be on the lookout for an invite so you can come on back through. Dr. Parks hangs out with us sometimes on our Saturday night show. Listen, those of you who are new to the show, this is a segmented show. We do 4 segments. We do a media mix down where we talk about something in social media. We do a question of the week. We do the marriage minute, for which our guest is here to hang out with us for. And then we do a last word. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to jump right into the marriage minute because I kind of want to hear what you guys have to say about it. Now, do me a favor. Stall for a second while I put this, because I never did put the video in there. So let me put the video in here.
So Dr. Parks said he's available till 7:30. So if we're going to get him in there, we're going to have to get him in there really quick in the beginning of the show. So, yeah.
That's it? That's all you got?
That's all I got.
Okay. All right. Well, that means I got to be quicker. All right, here we go.
Be quicker.
How do I
or we can just talk about it.
No, I want to play the video. So let's do this. See, this is what happens when you're excited about having your guest come in.
Yeah, man, you didn't tee anything up.
You forget to do stuff, right? So, and that's the that's what live shows are like. So here we go. Let me get this in. We'll be in here in just a second, and we'll be ready to go. All right. All right, we're good now. So let's jump in.
All right.
All right, so we're going to play this video and would like to hear what you all have to say about it, especially those who are watching right now. And if you're watching the replay, we would love to hear what you have to say about this. All right, so let's go. Let's play it.
Mean to tell me y'all share bodily fluids on a regular basis, but we can't share passwords and social media pages? Make it make sense. Y'all share the same bed, and you mean to tell me y'all can't share with each other phones, tablets? It's not privacy, it's secrecy. And people's relationships are being destroyed because of secrets. So we got to be in relationships where we agree. We're not keeping any secrets from each other. We're going to be honest, open, transparent, vulnerable with each other.
Well, what I'm thinking is just because
Go ahead. I can't hear that.
Just because I don't want you to share or I don't want to share my passwords or whatever doesn't mean that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm being secretive. I think, yes, we are one. We are married now. I 100%, of course, believe that.
Okay.
But I also believe that I am a person, an individual person, and you are an individual person. And there should be some, if I want, there should be individuality in that way. And I believe in boundaries in the marriage. Now, I have all of your passwords. You have all of mine. For me, this is not an issue. For us, this is not an issue. But for those
Do you have all my passwords?
Well, that's a good question.
Keep
Now,
going.
no, wait a minute now.
No. Don't derail the conversation. Finish saying what you were saying.
Now that you said, do I have them all? I guess I don't. But for us, that's not a big deal. If you want to give them to me, fine. If you don't, that's fine too. And I just feel like for those people who feel like, well, I don't want to share my password, not because I have something to hide, but because I just want this to be, this is my boundary in that regard. I feel like that's perfectly fine too.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Taniek agrees. Okay.
I
Um,
agree.
So I think so. Terry Parks said he's trying to get folks killed. And shout out to Elizanne and Anthony Murray and Alexis. Alexis said tag inspires families here.
Welcome, Alexis.
So
And Elizanne, welcome everyone.
I agree with
Anthony.
what you said, right? But I think I understand what he was trying to say.
I understand what he was trying to say too, but I don't agree that because I don't want you to have my passwords, that necessarily it's because I'm being secretive and I have something to hide.
Okay.
In some cases, it might mean that, but it doesn't automatically mean that.
All right. Let's get a couple of these comments. Let's see. Before we had cell phones and all this technology, we talked and there was nothing private. Okay.
True.
To some degree, I would say to some degree. There's probably still some private stuff. I think it was easier to be secret or private, whatever word you want to use for semantics, without all that stuff, because there was no way for you to know.
Yeah.
Dr. Holmes is in the building. Thank you, Dr. Holmes, for being here. Said I think he emphasized the difference between privacy
and secrecy.
Okay. Doc Park said, does your spouse have the right to go through your things? Is there privacy in marriage? And if so, what is the reason? Now you taking it to a whole different ball game.
I don't know if the right, my opinion, I don't know if the right is the phrase that I would use. I feel like just because we're married and just because, we are open books with each other, I feel like there should still be respect.
Okay.
And if for me, that means I don't want you to go through my things without asking me. I don't want you to look through my phone without asking me. That's just something that I would prefer you not do. Not that I have anything to hide, but because it's mine.
Yeah. So go ahead. Were you about to say something, Taniek?
Yeah, I was. I was just going to say one thing. I was just going to say, I think the bigger question is, why would you want to do that? What's leading you to want to do that? Because I do think that for most people, I think it works different for each couple. Each couple is different. But if there's infidelity, if there's been some type of rupture in the relationship, you're going to feel more compelled to want to do that.
Yes.
But if there's trust and there's a secure relationship, I may not even have the thought to go through your things.
Yes.
So what's leading this behavior? Like what makes you want to do that?
I agree. I agree with that.
That's good.
I agree with that. Anthony Murray said everyone deserves privacy, no matter what, unless they say it okay. It's okay.
But still be cautious. What do you mean? But still be cautious, Anthony.
So Dr. Holmes earlier said he emphasized the difference between privacy and secrecy. Now, to speak to what Taniek just said, if you went through something and that trust was violated,
yes,
due to some level of secrecy, then you're gonna want to
understandable.
Know that, right? And here's what I think. I don't think I would say just from a blanket statement that if we share bodily fluids, we should be able to share everything else.
I don't even understand.
So I'll say this. You should be able to have that level of access, but it's not a requirement.
I agree.
Yes.
That's kind of what I think.
And then to add to what Taniek was saying, if there was infidelity in the relationship and now you're trying to rebuild, right? And there's no longer infidelity, but the trust has to be rebuilt. If one of the things that I require because you were unfaithful to me, or if one of the things I feel like I need in order to rebuild trust is for me to be able to access your phone, then that's something that we have to agree on.
Yeah.
Again, every couple is different, but if that's one of the things that I feel like I need in order to now trust you a little bit more, then maybe that's what we need to do.
And I think that speaks to the whole privacy versus secrecy thing, because I think in this particular video that we played, he was talking about two different things. So in the beginning, he's saying, well, because we share everything else, we should be able to share this. But was then saying there's something between privacy and secrecy, right? If there is no secrecy, then your privacy is never going to be questioned.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's different than me just saying, "Oh well, we sleep together. You should have to." No. You don't have to
Yeah.
show me nothing. Like that's not the criteria. You know what I mean? Like that's. You know what I'm saying?
It's like handing somebody your phone and saying, "Here, you could go through it." But because I trust you, I'm not even going to go through your phone.
Right.
And the fact that you're so open with me, I'm not going to feel compelled to go through your phone. But
Right.
when you hiding your phone and you turning it over and you got it on silent 24/7,
Yes.
then my brain is like, what's going on here?
Yep.
Where's the secret?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you trying to hide? That's the first thing I would think.
Yep. Doc Park said earlier, I want to do it because I'm insecure. Anthony says because they can change their mind and they can say they forgot that they give you access to the phone. It's a slippery slope, right? Here, let me say this, and then we're gonna go on to the next segment. You should be, bottom line, you should be developing and maintaining a relationship where, like Taniek says, I ain't even thinking about that.
Yeah.
Right. Niecy knows I will grab her phone just at random, and not because I'm looking for anything. Like we might have taken a picture and she took it on her phone and I grab it and send it to myself, or she her phone manages a different Cash App than mine and I might want to be transferred something. So I'll grab it at any time. I'm never thinking of anything. Now, if I go to grab her phone and she tackles me like we in the NFL, then we got a different situation, right? So now we got to think things differently. So yeah, that's kind of what I think. Dr. Holmes says secrets is the result of hiding privacy.
This refers to the right of individuals to control their personal information and decide how it is shared or used.
Okay. I'm with you there. That's an interesting statement. Secrets is the result of hiding privacy. So, Dr. Holmes, we may have to have you come on one day just to talk about that. Because I think there's a lot to unpack there, which we can't do in this segment. But I'm going to hold on to that statement because we're going to need you to come and talk through that at some point. So, listen, that's the segment, media mixdown segment. If you missed it, you got to go back and watch it. We would love to hear your thoughts about it. And of course, if you have a media mixdown that you would love for us to take a stab at, you can either email it to the email that's on your screen, or you can send us a message wherever you're watching this right now. All right. That's the media mixdown for today. Dr. Holmes said awesomeness. Yes, we're gonna reach out so we can get you. Elizanne said marriage is no place for secrecy. So, yeah, Elizanne, you're kind of pointing back to our Saturday night show, which was you got to go back and watch that one. That was a good one.
That was a good one.
All right, let's keep it going because this question, I'm curious to hear what our guest has to say about this question of the week. I think this is kind of right up her alley. So let's go there. All right, here's a question.
Okay, question of the week. Should sexual compatibility be prioritized as highly as emotional and financial compatibility in a marriage? That's a good question.
Yeah. Can I give just a knee-jerk response?
My first response without hearing from the professional is yes.
That's my knee-jerk response too.
Yeah, I would say yes.
Now, and I'm definitely handing this off to Taniek as soon as I say this, but I will say this: if you don't prioritize emotional compatibility and try to prioritize sexual compatibility, you might run into a problem. That's just my thoughts. Now, having said that, we turn it over to the professional.
No, I agree. I definitely think sexual compatibility should be prioritized. I think people underestimate what sex is in a relationship or in a marriage. And it's just like if finances are not good, the marriage is in trouble. Sex is not good, the marriage is in trouble, right?
Yeah.
I think it needs to be prioritized, but I also and we'll probably talk about that a little bit more later on. But I absolutely do believe that I agree with you. If the emotional compatibility is not met in a relationship, it makes sex a little bit more difficult. But we can define sex in a lot of different ways.
True.
This is true.
Good point. Wow, good point. Because I was definitely thinking one-dimensional. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Yes, Anthony, it's a deep question.
It is a deep
without
question.
a doubt.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I was really glad. And and I told our guest before the show, I was like, I was toying between two questions, but I chose this because was gonna be here.
Yeah.
Because I really wasn't 100% sure outside of my knee-jerk response answer, which is yes.
Right. Me too.
To that question.
What the answer?
And the other piece of it too is that just like with anything else, you can't get into a relationship and try to change someone, right? So if someone doesn't have the same sexual appetite as you, marrying them and thinking that's going to change is setting yourself up for failure, right? So if you know you're someone that likes to have sex all the time, and you marry someone that doesn't, they're still not going to want to have sex all the time after marriage.
Yeah.
So that's interesting you would say that, right? And I don't have a lot of context around this question. It's just was a question as is. But that brings up my own question, which is, I think we also sometimes have a one-dimensional view of what compatibility is. So if someone is compatible in any of these areas, what does that mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't really asking for either of you to give me an answer. I'm just saying that's what I thought about. Just what you said just now made me think, okay, I may say that we are not sexually compatible because I want it 3 times a day and you want it 3 times a week. But does that mean we're not compatible, or does that just mean that our preferences aren't the same?
Right.
No, I agree with that. And I was when you asked the question, I was thinking compatible can also mean openness, right? So you may want it 3 times a week and I may prefer it once a week, right? But if I'm open to it, we're still compatible, right? Because I'm not closed off. I'm not saying this is an absolute no, but I'm open to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very good.
That's good, man. That's a good question. Anthony said I only had one thing, and some people have luck of getting both. And yeah, that's true. I can't deny that.
Yeah.
So I would say this. Well, the professional said it all. My knee-jerk response to this question was yes. Should it be prioritized? I love what you said, Taniek, about compatibility and openness, right? I think if I were to be able to ask this person a question, answer their question with a question, I think my question for them would be, what's your definition of compatible, right?
Yeah.
Because they may have something that is not in alignment with what might be healthy or what might be reality.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, yeah, that's a good question, man.
Yeah, that is a good question.
That's a great one. I don't even want to mess around with it too much more, but there are certain things that you should be prioritizing if you are intending on maintaining a healthy relationship. And all of the 3 things mentioned in this question are important.
Yeah.
And if they're important to both of you, then yes, it should be if sexual compatibility is important to you, then yes, it should be prioritized as highly as the other 2.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Great place to land the plane there. All right, listen, just like the media mixdown, if you have a question, man, this was a great one. Not to say that the others weren't great. We've had some phenomenal questions come through. If you have a question you'd like for us to take a stab at, again, you can email us, admin@denali.org. It's on your screen right now. Or you can send us a DM wherever you might be watching.
And we will tackle
it. And I love that we had Taniek on here for this one. Good stuff. All right. So now in this next segment, this is where we're going to be really talking to our guest. And again, we're talking to our guest who is a sex therapist. And if you did not see, you can see a piece of the graphic behind where we are. But the graphic shows that we kind of want to go inside the mind of our guest today, right? And so we're going to be talking about a bunch of different things. She specializes in a few different areas. I had in the description sexual disorders, desire discrepancies, which we're going to talk about a little bit, infidelity recovery, navigating diverse relationship dynamics, and the like. And so, without further ado, we're going to jump into the marriage minute and really kind of see what a sex therapist thinks and does, because I know some of y'all watch too much Cinemax. And you got a skewed thought process around what is happening here. So let's get into it right now. Listen, again, welcome. Thank you for taking some time out to hang out with us. And since I brought that whole Cinemax thing up, how about we start there?
Okay.
What are some of the and this is for me. This, the audience can just eavesdrop. This is for me. What are some of the craziest misconceptions you run across? And then what does a sex therapist really do?
So the craziest, I think, is that people believe that we are Kama Sutras, right? Like you're going to come in our office and we're going to put you in this position or we're going to watch you have sex and do all these things and show you that is not what we do at all. Now, we may talk to you about positions for sure, but we're not touching you. We're not looking at your body parts. We don't want to see your body parts, nothing like that. And I think most people, as soon as I say I'm a sex therapist, well, tell me some positions. And I'm like, that's not what I do.
Yeah, it's interesting how, so before you tell us what you actually do, where do, I know the media kind of gives us some of this stuff, right? In terms of what sex therapy is, the skewed vision. But do those misconceptions stem from anywhere else in your professional experience?
No, I think most of it, and that's just even therapists in general. I think the media depicts therapists in a certain way. So people automatically come into our office expecting a certain experience. And then when they get something different, it's kind of like, oh, that's not what I thought it looked like, right? Because of how it's portrayed on media.
Yeah.
But I think most of it does come from media. That's where people get this perception of what we do. I would say most of it comes from the media for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's good. So for those of you, and I don't, hopefully nobody else that's watching thought that, but if there was that one person who thought that what you saw on Cinemax is what happens in real life, sorry to disappoint you. That's not, when you go into Taniek's office, that ain't gonna be it, right? Now, when you go into Taniek's office, what is going to take place?
Absolutely. So here's the thing. It depends. So if we are talking about sexual disorders, one of the things that I do is I'm going to explore with you, what is it that you're experiencing? How do you want to experience sex? Like, what are some of the challenges? What are the stressors around having sex? What is your body experiencing? We're definitely going to rule out a medical issue, right? Because we don't deal with that. But we want to talk to you about what's happening. What's the challenges you're facing? How are they causing you distress? Working with couples, desire discrepancies, right? That's the number one. Or some couples come in to talk about, how can we spice things up? We do have those type of couples. We also talk about sexuality, right? Body image. So, and some people that may not even want to explore sex, because you do have people who are asexual. So they're trying to figure out whether or not I want to even have sex and what does that mean for me? Some people want to feel more confident in their sexuality. So it's very layered what we do, but we're more so processing your experience with sex, what you want your experience with sex, what you want your experience with sex to be, and how your experience with sex has been, right? And where do you want help? What are you looking for in that area?
Okay.
Is desire discrepancy and say insecurity with my body as far as sexuality goes, are those considered sexual disorders?
No,
Okay.
no. Well, body dysmorphia
Body dysmorphia.
is not really a sexual disorder, but it is in the DSM-5. And if you do have body dysmorphia, it can lead to you not wanting to have sex. It does have a lot to do with body image, but it's not really classified as a sexual disorder.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good question, actually.
Okay.
Speaking of desire discrepancy, right?
Mhm.
That tends to be a really big one. So if we think about the couples that we've had the privilege of working with together
Mhm.
that are building in the area of intimacy, that's often an issue
Mhm.
that comes up, right? Somebody, again, going back to what we were talking about earlier, like somebody wants to have sex 3 times a day, somebody wants to have sex 3 times a week, right? In your professional opinion,
Mhm.
and obviously we're not trying to give people free therapy sessions because they need to come
Correct.
right, come to you, right? What maybe is one of the first things we should be thinking about
Mhm.
as we approach, I don't even know if balancing is the right word, but I'm going to use that just because I don't have a right word. What's one of the first things we need to think about as it relates to starting to balance that out?
Sure. So here's the thing. When it comes to, we talk about like mismatched libido, and sometimes it's not mismatched libido. It's about desire, right? We have two different desire styles. We have spontaneous desire and we have responsive desire.
Mm.
So the person that has spontaneous desire is someone who has arousal, thinks about sex, can get in the mood, doesn't need any type of external stimuli, doesn't need to be touched, doesn't need anything. I want sex, I'm going to have sex.
Mhm.
And that's usually the pursuer in the relationship, the one that's going to come home and initiate sex. Let's have sex. Then you have the partner who may have a responsive desire sex style, and they need touch. They need foreplay. They need all the things to get in the mood. They don't just think about sex and want to have sex. As a matter of fact, they probably go through their whole day without sex even being on their mind, right? But if you lay next to them, you cuddle with them, then they'll have some arousal and they'll want to have sex. So the person who has this spontaneous desire is usually viewed as the person who has high libido, high sex drive. And the person who has a responsive desire is usually viewed as having a lower libido, and that's not necessarily true. But what happens is the person with the spontaneous desire feels more rejection. They feel less attractive because I'm always initiating. So in my mind, you don't want it. You don't want me. Like, what's wrong? Why am I the one that's always, am I the one that has the high sex drive? But and then the person who's responsive starts to feel this pressure of, okay, I'm not good enough. I'm not pleasing my partner. So guess what? They start to have sex out of obligation, out of making their partner happy, out of wanting to, do things, but there's no pleasure in that for them. So after a while, when you start having having sex out of obligation, you're not having any pleasure. You don't get anything from it, right?
Right.
And then that makes me want to have sex less and less and less. So it's about finding out what the desire is that both of you have and figuring out what pleasure means for both of you. Because the person with the spontaneous desire may want penetrative sex and need penetrative sex to experience desire, to experience pleasure, right? But the person who has responsive desire may just want oral sex, may just need touch, right? And that brings them pleasure. But if they continue to engage in something that's not bringing them pleasure, you're not going to want to do it.
Right.
So, man, that was a incredibly dope explanation. Like I think you just freed some folk because we immediately go to a place of conflict merely because we don't understand what we're dealing with. We just see the discrepancy and react to that.
Yep.
But if I know my spouse is responsive, now there's a process
Absolutely.
and there's information and knowledge that I can leverage to have a phenomenal sexual experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was gold.
But most couples don't talk about sex as much as you think they do. And I think that's the problem. There's a lot of shame around how we want to experience sex and that fear of rejection around being honest about what we want our experience and our pleasure to look like. So we just end up in this conflict, especially if we don't want to tell our partner, well, you know, that doesn't really do anything for me because I don't want to hurt your feelings.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So we refrain from saying that. But if we said that, our partner will be more inclined to engage with us, and then we can have a good sexual experience, and that promotes sex, good sex.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I remember saying that before too, that in one of our shows, that often couples really don't have these conversations.
Talk about it. Yeah.
And they really don't want to tell their spouse. They don't want to hurt their spouse's feelings by saying, like Taniek said, that does nothing for me, or I would rather you do it this way than that way, or even sometimes that hurts a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that.
Yeah. Listen, we got some questions in the comments. So I'll take, if you don't mind, we'll take these two. Does sex therapy cost a lot? I think that might be relative.
Yeah, I would think.
But go ahead. That's for you. That's not for us.
Sex therapy does not cost a lot. It depends on who you see. It averages around $200 to $250 a session, but it really depends on who you see. It depends on what, you know, some sex therapists take insurance, some don't. But usually I would say around $200 to $250 a session.
Now, Anthony Murray, since you asked that question, we're definitely, just stay tuned. We're definitely going to ask Taniek how we can get in touch with her. So if that's something you're interested in, you're going to find out the price. How about that? We got Alexis. Shout out to Alexis that's here. Again, welcome. I think my wife welcomed you earlier. Can these relationships be successful? Can you really achieve
a healthy balance where both partners feel fulfilled?
If you want to, why not? Right? Like, relationships are work. And if you love this person and you're committed to them having pleasure, you're committed to yourself having pleasure, you're committed to the success of your relationship, why wouldn't you want to? Why wouldn't you want to do the things that are going to make you guys happy as a couple? So I definitely believe if you want to, it can happen, but it does require that open communication. We have to keep the lines of communication open.
Okay. And that seems to be the common thread, right? You talked about all of the information you gave kind of boils down to now our willingness to communicate. Because I may be upset with her for all this time because the numbers don't add up. Like, why once a week and why every day? What, you know what I'm saying? But we never have this conversation or take time to actually go to somebody like you to learn that, wait a minute, your approach is different.
Right.
And my approach is different. So now that we know that, what's the game plan we put in place?
Exactly.
So that we can take what you have and what I have and create something great.
And make it work.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
I love that. I love that. So listen, let's do this because, man, we could talk to you for forever. There's going to be another part to this at some point. We're going to do this. But let's end off with this. For the folks that are watching or may run across this in a replay, what are just a couple things that we can do to just kind of keep that spark alive, to reignite that spark? Because it might be a reignition for some people, and for others it may, to keep that spark burning. What can we do in the way of intimacy? And I know that's really broad, but that's
no, for sure. I think definitely you want to continue to date each other. right? You want to continue to get to know each other. So here's the thing, especially when it comes to sexuality, as you age, your body changes, right? So what worked when I was in my 20s is not going to work when I'm in my 40s.
Yeah.
So we have to constantly keep that line of communication open in terms of what do you need for intimacy?
Yeah.
What does your emotional intimacy look like? What does your physical intimacy look like? We have to consistently continue to have that conversation around what is it that we need to feel fulfilled in our relationship, right? And I think achieving that through dates, prioritizing time is really important to do that. I also think scheduling sex. A lot of people are like, scheduling sex.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Yes, it is not taboo to schedule sex.
Yes.
Just like you schedule a hair appointment, just like you schedule your nails, your haircut, all those things are a priority. Sex should be a priority.
Yes.
Schedule sex. If you know that you're someone that gets really busy, you're tired when you
Right.
get home, you're burnt out, you might go into bed and crash. Well, we need to say, you know what, Tuesdays and Thursdays, the sex night. That's what we're going to do,
Yeah.
right? So you schedule sex so that you keep it going. You know, be open to sharing, again, what your pleasure is. What do you like? What are your fantasies? What are you into? How do you like to be pleased? All those things. There's so much shame around that. So
Yeah.
people tend to keep things hidden to themselves. And that's when we get into pornography, or we get into, you know, doing all kind of other things to be pleased, when we have a partner right there that might be open to doing it.
Yeah.
But you just haven't told me what you liked.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
That's good. That's really good. That's really good. I'm gonna say something in a second about that. Anthony said, I went through a marriage that was similar to what the beautiful lady mentioned. If she was mad, I did not get nothing. I waited all the time. Bad combo. Yeah, I mean, that happens, Anthony. And here's this actually fits with what I was going to say. Often, for some reason, and you talked about the shame that's placed around this topic, we often don't view this, not just sex, but just a lot of marital journey type things that come up. We don't view them the same way we view other things, right? For example, if my car is making this knocking noise and the brakes are squeaking and oil is dripping out from the bottom, at some point I'll be like, you know what? I should probably go see somebody about this. If I would like to keep driving this car, if this driving this car is a priority to me, I should probably figure this out.
Yeah.
Yep.
And maybe even invest in
Yep.
making it right.
Yep. Agreed.
We do not do that with this though.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
We just watch this thing just fall apart at the seams,
Yeah.
and we will not go see Taniek for no reason.
Right.
Like, we just won't do it.
Yeah.
And I know there's something there, and I'm not saying that there isn't. I'm not dismissing the fact that there's a disconnect there, but at some point, this is the point I'm making. At some point, when we start to see these things happening, we should probably take some initiative to do something.
Yeah. I think that for a lot of us, because of therapy has come a long way, or the acceptance of therapy has come a long way, but like our parents and our parents' parents, that was not a thing.
Yeah.
And so I think part of the reason is because that's what we learned, that therapy, you only go to therapy if you're crazy. And so you're not going to go because of what's been ingrained in you. And it's hard to unlearn things that you've lived with all of your life. I think that's maybe a little part of the reason why.
I think that's a part of it. Yeah.
So.
And if I could add something really quick.
Absolutely.
I think definitely, you know, one of the things that we do in therapy is like a sexual history, because a lot of people develop a relationship with sex based on how they've been taught or oriented around sex, right? So if you come from a family that sex is forbidden and we can't talk about it and we can't, you know, and one of the reasons I became a sex therapist was because I wanted to bridge the gap between religion and sex, because I do believe that church Black church specifically has a huge impact on Black sexuality, right? So we experience a lot of shame because the way we're taught about sex, and God gave us sex. It's just a matter of how you want to have sex and if you're doing it the right way, but it's God given, right?
Right.
But people learn about sex through how they've been oriented about sex. So if there's a lot of shame from growing up, cultures, different cultures, and how they believe sex, you're not going to feel compelled to talk to your partner about it.
That's right.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely.
That's
really
very
good.
true. There are those factors that definitely pour into it. So you actually started to answer what was going to be my last question, which is, and this is really broad overview, obviously, because we want people to come to you, but you talked about doing a sexual history. My question was going to be, what, as a new client, what should a new client expect
Absolutely.
when they come to visit you?
So I usually start off with a sexual history. So I want to learn everything about what you know about sex, how you've been taught about sex, what do you feel about your body, how do you explore your body, do you explore your body? I'm going to ask you about past relationships, sexual experiences. What do you want to do? Like how do you want to be pleased? Do you even know what that means? Right. So that's usually like your first 2 to 3 sessions of me just going through your sexual history. And then we'll move into what is the presenting problem? Like, why are you here? Right. And I'm going to explore with you why you're here and then eventually develop a treatment plan, something that we're going to work forward to, give you some goals, give you some homework. Most of the time we are working with someone like a medical practitioner, someone else, because most of the time it's something that happened medically most of the time. So we'll work with somebody else. For women that may experience, different things, we might have a physical therapist to help to strengthen that pelvic floor. So it really depends. It really depends on what's going on, but you should expect at least 2-3 sessions of me just going through your history, going through your relationship with sex. What are your views about it? Everything you've been taught about it, all that good stuff.
That's excellent. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
Now,
that's
speaking of
great.
that, are you taking on new clients?
I am.
Okay. How can folks who want to get in touch with you, how can they get a hold of you?
Absolutely. So you can go to my website, www.taginspires.org, or you can follow me on Instagram at Tag Your Couples Therapist. I am licensed in both PA and New York. So I can work with you in that area. We do take some clients in the DC area as well. So if you're in the DC area and you're looking for a sex therapist, reach out.
I love it.
Cool.
I love it, man. So let me put this up again. You can go to her website, or you can follow her on, which you should do anyway.
You should anyway.
Follow her on Instagram. And listen, this is phenomenal knowledge that you have shared with us. We appreciate you.
I appreciate both of you. I am so excited to be here. I'm so excited for both of you. Let me just say that really quick. Huge success. I love this platform. I love everything that you're doing. I know that you're getting ready to go on the road, and I'm just praying that God exceeds your expectations and that this thing goes sailing. You guys are couple goals, and I support it 100%.
Thank you
so
much
for having me.
Indeed,
Thank
indeed.
you.
So listen, let's give a round of applause. We're really excited and glad to have you as a part of this.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing the information. Those of you who are watching now, watching the replay, if you missed any piece of this, you got to go back. There's a section of this that I'm definitely going to post because I really believe that it was freeing. I'm gonna post a lot of it, but there's one section in particular that I'm like, man, that's gonna save some folk.
Yes. Yeah.
Because that's going to understanding who you are as it relates to sex is an eye-opening moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Good.
That's
good.
just incredible. Incredible. I love it. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. So that brings us down to the end of the show. And as always, we end the show with a last word. So let's do that. All right.
What's the last word? Do you got one?
Do you have one?
I don't.
Okay. So I do have one.
Okay.
Last word is real simple. We've been talking about sexuality. We've been talking about communication today. The last word is simply this: be intentional about connecting.
Mm. Mhm.
That's an area where many of us, we can express the lack in that area,
Mhm.
but we don't follow it up with the intention.
Yes. Yep.
And just as, I don't mean this in a bad way, because this is the first word that came to my mind, just as ridiculous as it is to complain about a massive headache
Mm.
and not take all the steps that you could take to try to alleviate it, it's just as ridiculous to complain about lack of connection and then not follow it up with any level of intention on trying to connect.
Yeah, and I think to add to what you're saying is hear your spouse, because
Mm.
often, your spouse could be saying, I just feel like, stuff is getting in the way. We're so
Mhm.
busy. Um, I just wish that we could get together, or I wish we could get away.
Mhm.
I wish we had time to do this. Like,
Yeah,
hear your
true,
spouse
yeah,
when they're
yeah,
saying things like that, and don't just agree with them and be like, yeah, that's true.
yeah. So,
Like, do something about it.
listen, we're very transparent, right? So that's coming from a very personal place, right? Because she's told me at least once a week for the last 3 weeks, we need to get away.
I wasn't saying that to throw you
That's
under the
that's
bus.
okay.
No, I
No.
really
I'm
wasn't.
already under it. I'm already under it. Like tire tracks are right here. I'm
I
already
was
under
not
it.
throwing you
But
under the bus,
but it's
but
cool.
I did think about that. I wasn't throwing you. Hey, listen, you brought the last word. So
I did. I threw myself under the bus. How about that?
no. Seriously though, this wasn't a jab at you.
Okay.
It really wasn't.
Mhm.
But I just think that often, we just agree with our spouses that yes, we're stressed, or
Mhm. Mhm.
yes, we're going through a tough time. Yes, we're really tired. We both agree that, but
Right.
neither one of us take the steps to
Mhm.
try to do anything about it. It wasn't a jab at you
That's okay.
or us
Listen,
or our
most of the
relationship.
last words come from stuff that I know I need to be doing.
Mm.
So now I gave that secret away. Everybody's gonna be going back and looking at last words. Like, let me see where
Right.
he's messing up at. But yeah, so that's the last word. Listen,
Yeah.
be intentional about connecting, right?
Mm.
Talk about building a bond, right? And often people have heard me say this often, that you can't see this desk that we're sitting at, but this desk is extremely sturdy, right? And both of us, I'm dead serious. The both of us could probably step on this desk and jump up and down, and it won't even move.
Mm.
Imagine having that level of bond in your relationship.
Both of us could lay on this desk.
You stop. That's a Saturday night show.
I'm saying we got to
Cut it out. Cut it out. Cut it out. Cut it out. We're going somewhere
We're going
totally
with the
different
theme
now.
of the show, I just say.
Oh my goodness
I
gracious!
love it.
But imagine having that level of bond, right, in your relationship, that it withstands all the phases and stages of your life.
Mhm.
But in order to get there, you got to be intentional.
Yeah.
So that's the last word. Be intentional about your connection.
Mhm.
Listen, let me put up our guest information again so that you can connect with her and follow her. I saw Anthony said he took a screenshot.
Good.
This is the website, taginspires.org, and on Instagram, tag your couples therapist. Make sure that you are connecting with our guest.
Yes.
Make sure that you're connecting with our guest. Shout out to Anthony. Anthony said he took a screenshot. Appreciate it. She was great. I enjoyed
She
it.
was.
Indeed.
She was really
Indeed.
great.
She
Thank
was
you,
indeed
Anthony.
Indeed. Indeed.
TMI,
Yeah,
fam.
see,
What's
listen,
up, John? Hey,
we-
hey,
You already know what it is, brother. Listen, we're gonna get out of here. We are Taniek, stay on for a second after we run the outro, just for a second. We won't put too long. But listen, we are grateful to all of you who are in the comments, those of you who are watching now, watching the replay. Shout out to the Tag Inspires family. We know we got some folk watching. and supporting Taniek. That's dope that you did that. Thank you for coming out to support her as well. And listen, while you're here, go ahead and subscribe if you're on YouTube, man. We would be grateful and appreciative of that as well. For those of you in the DMV, don't forget, you got to get your tickets. I will make sure I put it in the comments. Get your tickets for Have a Conversation After Dark. We're doing that live in front of an audience, and we want you to be there. It's going to be on March the 23rd, so it's coming up. We got some great folk that are going to be there with us. We got DJ Special K. We got dope therapist Armina that's going to be sitting in with us on the stage, and B. Lee is going to bring some crazy spoken word. So it's going to be a great time, entertainment, laughs, good times, good vibes, grown and sexy conversation.
Yes.
We want you to be a part of that. All right. Listen, we're going to get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Have a phenomenal weekend.
Have a great week.
And as always, we always tell you to have a conversation. You heard the last word. Be intentional. If you're trying to get your sex life right, she's right here, folks. So get your life together. All right.
Get your life.
Get your life together. Listen, we love y'all. Thank you for being the best part of this show. And we'll see you next Thursday.
Good night, everyone.
Peace.
Good night.